Christmas Eve in our small, snow-blanketed town was always quiet. The streets were deserted, with everyone huddled in their homes. My 9-year-old sister, Ellie, and I were waiting for our parents, who had called to say the icy roads delayed them. Our house was warm, filled with the smell of cookies and pine. Then, the knock at the back door shattered the calm. It was strange, nobody ever came to the back door, especially on a night like this. I peeked through the frosted glass and saw a man dressed as Santa Claus, his red suit vibrant against the dark snow. A large sack hung over his shoulder, dripping slightly at the bottom. Ellie darted toward the door, squealing, "Santa!" "Wait," I said, my stomach twisting with unease. I cracked the door open, staying behind the chain. "Can I help you?" His grin was too wide, his teeth yellowed, and his eyes glinted with something unnatural. "Ho, ho, ho!" he bellowed. "Merry Christmas. I've got gifts for good little children." His voice was deep and guttural, each word sending shivers down my spine. From the sack, he pulled out a doll wrapped in shiny green paper. Its cracked porcelain face and hollow, black eyes made Ellie recoil when she unwrapped it. She dropped the doll, and it shattered on the floor. "You don't like it?" His smile never wavered. "I worked so hard to make it perfect." "I think you should leave," I said, trying to sound firm. His eyes darkened. "Santa doesn't leave until he's delivered every gift." He stepped closer, and I slammed the door, locking it quickly. From outside, his voice turned low and menacing. "You can't keep Santa out." Suddenly, the sound of jingling bells echoed around the house, joined by slow, deliberate footsteps crunching in the snow. The lights flickered, then went out, plunging the house into darkness. Ellie whimpered, grabbing my hand. "Stay quiet," I whispered, but the jingling grew louder, circling the house like a predator stalking its prey. Darkness consumed the house, broken only by the faint light of my phone. Ellie clung to me, her sobs muffled against my shoulder. I tried calling for help, but there was no signal. The footsteps stopped. Then, glass shattered in the living room. My heart pounded as I grabbed a flashlight and led Ellie toward the pantry. The jingling bells now seemed to echo from every corner of the house. "Let's play a game," his voice boomed, mockingly cheerful. "Find Santa before he finds you." We hid in the pantry, and I grabbed the largest knife I could find. The door creaked open slowly, his silhouette filling the frame. He dragged the sack behind him, the red-stained fabric leaving streaks on the hardwood floor. I peeked through a crack in the door, watching him place something on the fireplace mantel. My stomach lurched when I saw it, a severed hand, its fingers curled as if reaching for help. Ellie gasped, and I clamped my hand over her mouth. The man's head snapped toward the pantry, his grin stretching wider. "I hear you," he sang in a twisted melody. The handle rattled. I braced myself, gripping the knife tightly. The door burst open, and his face loomed inches from mine. I swung the knife wildly, slashing across his arm. Blood sprayed, but he didn't flinch. Instead, he laughed, a low, guttural sound that made my skin crawl. "Good effort," he said, lunging forward. I shoved Ellie toward the stairs. "Run." She bolted, and I slashed again, catching his cheek this time. He staggered, giving me just enough time to escape. Upstairs, I found Ellie hiding in the bathroom. We barricaded the door as heavy footsteps pounded up the stairs. "Santa always delivers," he growled. The door shook violently as he tried to break it down. Ellie screamed, and I held the knife, trembling. The bathroom offered no escape, but I wasn't going to let him take her. "Time for your present," he snarled, splintering the door with each blow. The door finally gave way, and he stood there, his bloodied face illuminated by the faint glow of my flashlight. "Let's unwrap you," he sneered, raising his cleaver. I threw the knife, aiming for his eye. It struck his shoulder instead, making him stumble. Using the momentary distraction, I grabbed Ellie and bolted out the door. We ran down the hallway, slipping on the blood-streaked floor. The walls were covered in messages scrawled in red, naughty and bad children. His laughter echoed as he chased us. In the garage, I found Dad's axe. Turning, I faced the man as he closed in, dragging his cleaver. "You can't kill Santa," he growled. I swung the axe with all my strength, catching him in the chest. He screamed, the sound inhuman, but I didn't stop. Blow after blow, I kept swinging until his laughter ceased. His body collapsed in a heap, blood pooling around him. Ellie sobbed as I pulled her outside into the snow. The neighbors' lights flickered on, and people emerged, drawn by the commotion. When the police arrived, I was sitting in the driveway, covered in blood, clutching the axe. They found his body in the sack in the garage, filled with grotesque gifts made from his victims. Ellie and I survived, but every Christmas, we hear the faint sound of jingling bells in the distance, a chilling reminder of the night Santa came calling.